Kia ora koutou. Welcome to another edition of the Hot Air Sports Podcast with me, Macca, and my good mate, Mahona. There's been some interesting news this week. We're going outside the sporting realm to start with. We found out that the Foo Fighters' Dave Grohl is actually a real rock and roller now. He's been a naughty boy, hasn't he?
He's been a very naughty boy. I thought about that learning to fly video when he was dressed like a little girl, and I thought, oh, that's probably what he bumped into or something. I don't know. Oh,
Yeah.
you look kind of familiar. Oh, mate, shit happens. When I told the missus, and I said, Dave Grohl, eh? Oh no, and she went, what happened? And so I had to fill her in. I sort of said, oh, he said, and she went, oh, thank God. I thought it was something really, I thought it was something really bad, Yeah, but anyway.
And the other thing that we found out during the week was that in Springfield, Ohio,
Oh yes,
there has been a lot of cat and dog eating, and I was just wondering if Mr. Trump has been watching too many reruns of 80s sitcom Alf, starring our good friend Gordon Shumway.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating our pets. It's like, my God. I mean, when you thought it couldn't get more crazy, the Haitians are eating this stuff. I mean, build a wall. It'll stop them. Pets can get over walls. Fuck.
Oh, look, that country is in such a mess. It's not funny.
It's pretty crazy.
And out of 360 million people,
look,
Kamala Harris seems fairly ordinary. So that's okay. But
well, mate, she seems kind of sane.
60 million, and they come up with the Republicans. That's the best candidate they can come up with.
Well, let's be honest, mate. Until about a month ago, the Democrats didn't come up with much better, did they? So,
true. Old Sleepy Joe.
But she does seem kind of sane. I mean, that's just the way she was looking at him and laughing. I just thought, this is great. I mean, this is what we've been doing for years. So, if the Americans can't get it into their skulls that you got one candidate that's capable and the other one's just a madman. I mean,
Anyway,
let's get into sport.
Onto the more important things in life, like sport. The Premier League season starts, and 3 weeks into it, we're just getting excited. Oh, no Premier League games for 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, the international break. Don't we love international football, mate?
Oh, don't we just not enjoy the international break?
It's so good, eh?
Yeah, it annoys the crap out of me. And yet again,
we get 3 rounds, 3 games.
And there's another international break and another 3 rounds.
Yeah, well, they need it, mate. They need it. International football. Who's watching these games? Who cares?
Exactly.
Who really cares, except for the people coaching the teams? I mean,
exactly. I guess one bright note to come out if you're a Harry Kane fan, he had his 100th cap and scored a couple of goals.
Well done. Yeah.
68 goals in 100 games. It's not a bad effort. I know he takes penalties, but...
and who he scored them against, though. I mean, I don't know. You look at the all-time strikers. Would he be number 1 in England? I wouldn't say. I mean, you look at Jimmy Greaves, you got Kevin Keegan, you got a bunch of other options, I think, up front. Shearer was better than Kane.
Shearer, Bobby Charlton.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, no, there's plenty of options up front, but he will break all the records. He's probably going to beat Chilton's record, mate. I mean, he'll probably be the most capped England player of all time. Well, he would have been if Gareth Barry was still in charge. We have to talk about that, actually. Gareth Southgate, sorry. We have to talk about that. Now the new coaching regime is underway, and England are actually playing some okay football.
Well, they're looking to go forward a lot more. And now who was that guy at right back that won man of the match the other day?
Yeah. They've been saying for years he's no good. He can't defend. He can't do anything. Well, all of a sudden England are in love with him.
Southgate tried him in midfield in the most important games of the years.
Mate, Southgate, no idea. Let's be honest. Lee Carsley's got an idea. He's got an idea and he's got a style of football. Wow.
Yeah, but he won't sing the national anthem, Aaron.
Oh, yeah. Let's get to the really important stuff. How he sings the national anthem. Bloody hell. Give me strength. Go on, Liverpool, though. Liverpool back this weekend, aren't they, mate?
They are. So 3 games in. I know it's a very small sample size, but I know I am enjoying watching Liverpool play, don't get me wrong, but I miss Jurgen.
I miss him on the sideline.
Yeah.
I don't miss some of the football, especially considering last year and the year before, I just the way we were too open at the back. I just think we tried to play too street football. It just got a bit too much for me. I mean, it was very exciting at the beginning. When we were through our championship years, I thought we were more solid. We played more solid football. At the end, it just was a bit too helter-skelter for me. And I love what Slot's doing. I absolutely love it. I mean, 3 games, no goals conceded. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, that's back to premiership winning stuff. 7 goals scored, none conceded. I mean, he's the first manager, I think, to have 9 points with Sven and Jose Mourinho, isn't he? And he's got another chance to make it a run of 4 on Saturday.
And only one club in the entire Premier League / Football League has not conceded a goal this year.
Yep.
Liverpool.
Who would that be? Of course. Of course. No, mate, we're doing great. I mean, I just love our back four. Harvey Elliott got an injury on international duty. That's a bit unfortunate, especially considering he hasn't really got any minutes so far. I think it's a bit different if someone like Verge got injured, or even Alisson Becker or one of our mainstays, because that they're going to come straight back into the team. Harvey's going to have 4 to 6 weeks off, and then how's he going to get back into the team? Because we're going to be right amongst the Champions League thing. He's probably going to come off the bench for a few minutes, but how's he going to actually get back into the team? I mean,
I think there'll be plenty of opportunities for him, especially if we get through West Ham in the first round of the Carabao Cup. There'll be plenty.
Slot had a love affair with him, though, didn't he? I mean, he just played him so much. He played him just about every game, and he said at the end of his career, when he left, he said, "Oh, I wish I had played Harvey more." I mean, I thought he played him as much as he could have. I reckon if he'd become Borussia Dortmund coach, he would have taken him with him. I reckon those two have a bit of a loving, and Slot obviously doesn't rate him quite so highly, does he? I mean, he's a different sort of player to the midfielders that he wants.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more player movement around now that we're starting to get into the Champions League, and there's weekend games and midweek games. I mean, that first 3 weeks, it was basically, come on, let's just get off to a good start.
Yeah,
get 9 points out of our first 3 games, and then we've got the international break, and we'll go from there. So I mean, it's always important to get a good start, isn't it?
Absolutely, especially when you got City in the league. I mean, they just if they're away at Christmas, they're winning the league. I mean, they can be behind at Christmas, and you just know they're going to go on a 14-20 match run. I mean, you just know it. So if we can get ahead of them, who knows? I mean, could be that great. We have to talk about Gravenberch, though, mate.
I was was on the tip of my lips to say, well, again, it's another small sample size. He's played 3 league games and 2 international games.
Yeah.
And so far, so good.
Looks a different player, eh?
He does look a different player.
Yep. He's like the first couple of games he played in that defensive midfielder position, and I thought he was okay. And that last game, he just played so well. I mean, but he was sort of slightly ahead. They did mix it up for that Manchester United game, and they dropped McAllister back further and let him roam forward. And my God, he looked so good going forward, didn't he? That first goal. And I mean, that's the sort of role he should be playing. I mean, he's just improving in all those little areas. I mean, I said, look, I think he's got all the tools. I just wanted him to use them more wisely. And
Did you see his
impressed me.
Did you see the pass he made against Germany?
No, I did. Oh, that one out to the to the right wing. Oh my God, on the volley.
Yeah.
Wasn't that was Trent-esque, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was phenomenal. I didn't know he
stunning.
had that in his game. I knew he was a great passer, but not that sort of pass. That was stunning.
I noticed after the game, former Dutch international Rafael van der Vaart said, I saw that pass and thought, it's time to go home now. I'm not going to do anything better than that.
And if the former Dutch players are making a bit of a noise about it, then there's something that they're doing something well, because they're pretty quick to put the boot in, aren't they?
Yeah, they certainly are. Now, 3 very important players in the Liverpool side are still not signed to new contracts. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Virgil van Dijk, and Mohamed Salah.
Yeah.
Who put them in order of most important to least important, if you possibly can.
Okay, for me, most important is Trent, because he's a younger guy. He's a Scouse lad. He's a £100 million player right now. He could become more. If we lose him for nothing, it'll be like the McManaman thing for me. I mean, you got that player that you've developed and you turned him into a superstar. You can't lose him for nothing. So I'm not saying he's the most important player out of the three. I'm saying he's the most important contract to get signed.
Yeah,
because you look at the other two, they're older, in their mid-30s. Mo, so important because just he's playing out of his skin. Give him a 3-year contract. Give him a 10-year contract. Who cares? Just sign him up, mate. He'll just go forever. So he's really important. I think he'll be easy to be done, though. I think those comments he made were basically like saying to the club, where's my contract? I think that's basically what he was asking for. And I think Virgil will sign as well because he's the captain. I just think he will. I think Trent's going to be the hardest, and I think he will be the worst to lose.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with all three of those. Probably maybe a 2-year deal for Virgil.
Maybe
2 or 3
with an option for a third.
With an option for a third, I think. Yeah, get Salah for another 4 years, easy.
Absolutely, mate. He just looks so fit, doesn't he? So motivated.
Yeah,
and
do we do a Chelsea with Trent and sign him to a 9-year deal?
Well, everyone else is doing it. Nah, I wouldn't do that. But the Mo thing, I mean, we just have to sign him, don't we, mate? I mean, he could be, we always think that Ian Rush goal record is out of reach for everyone. Well, I'll tell you what, man. If Mo plays for another 4 or 5 years and scores 30 goals a year, he'll be bloody close. He'll be bloody close. Will. And he's the sort of guy that does like those sort of records and everything as well. I think I just hope and pray he does sign. Even if he does sign and he's there till he's 36, 37, I still think he can still go and spend the last couple of years in Saudi Arabia and make billions of dollars if he wants to. That'll always be.
I don't think he wants to go to Saudi Arabia, just reading between the lines. I don't think so either. He wants to stay in a competitive league. And if he leaves Liverpool, it'll be somewhere like Bayern Munich or Real Madrid or Juventus or.
I'm talking about 5-6 years down the thing. If his knees go and he can hardly run and he's just changed himself into a goal scorer, that's the thing as well. He's evolved his game a bit. He's a different sort of player now. And who's to say, even if he does lose a bit more pace and he does, that he can't change himself again and just become a poacher? Because he's that sort of player. So. Yeah, sign all of them up now.
Quite right. Moving right along. It's business end of the season in the NRL now. We're right down to the playoffs. They start this weekend. Tonight, what's going to happen in these playoffs?
Okay, so we got 4 games. First game is tonight, 7:50 p.m. We got the Panthers playing the Roosters. The Chooks. The Chooks are down a number of players. Smith got injured last week. That was a horrible sort of hip drop sort of thing. I don't know whether you saw that. That was the cheese got nobbled. It looks like he's going to be out for at least 6 weeks, 6 months by the sound of it. He did an ACL and something else. So they're down on troops. Walker's also injured. They're halfback. So I would say the Panthers all day there with Cleary back and all that sort of thing. So and the Chooks don't have a great record against the other top 8 teams as well. So.
And they've got a second life too, haven't they? This is an elimination game.
Yeah, exactly. This is the qualifying final. And then on Saturday, tomorrow afternoon, we've got the Storm playing the Sharks. That should be quite a good game, actually. The Sharks in some good form at the moment, and the Storm a bit up and down, but they got Munster back. Man, they finished once again, won the minor premiership. Craig Bellamy. I mean, if you're looking to just sign one rugby league person for your club, regardless of any sort of, any back end, someone in the back office or a coach or a player or anyone in rugby league, you'd sign Craig Bellamy as the first player. He's just phenomenal what he's done with the Storm. So you'd be hard pressed to go by the Storm there. And then you've got the elimination finals Saturday, 7:50. So that's tomorrow, I think at about 10 o'clock, the late one on Saturday night. You've got the Cowboys and the Knights. Cowboys all the way for that one for me. The Cowboys have looked great against all the other top 8, and they're humming along. So the Cowboys all day, unless Ponga can pull something out. He's in great form for the Knights. And then on Sunday, you got the Dogs and the Sea Eagles. That's a throwback to the old days. The Dogs of War against the Silvertails. Should be a really good game, that one. The Dogs, I mean, that'll be a full stadium. A core stadium there. in New South Wales, with all the dogs, all the blue and white. I would be surprised if the dogs don't win that one. I think they'll beat the Sea Eagles and knock them out. So that means that next week it'll be the dogs playing the loser, probably the dogs playing the Sharks, and the Cowboys playing the Roosters next week. I think it's hard pressed, though, if you're looking all the way through to the grand final, to go past anything other than a Panthers and a Storm final. They're just the two best teams by miles, I just think.
Yep. And do you think the Storm are just playing too well at the moment?
They're just... Well, the thing is, they've been creaky all season, and they just keep winning. They win even when they're crap, you know? They're that sort of team. And they look like they're just... Bellamy, man, he just seems to get them humming at the right time. He just knows how to do it. It's just... I don't know. Can we just wait until we get to that grand final before I pick a winner? Because who knows who's going to come down, who's going to, go. I mean, I wouldn't put it past the Panthers to go get 4 in a row. Yeah. I mean, James Fisher-Harris to play for.
Funny thing I picked up last weekend, it was actually highlighted on the back page program the other night. And last week's games between the Panthers and the Titans, the Panthers wore their throwback chocolate.
They did.
Soldier shirts.
Yeah.
Although the chocolate was a bit darker than what it used to be. And
it was more Whitakers.
Yeah. And at one stage, the referee got totally confused. He said, Titans offside, penalty to Manly.
Did he really? I didn't see that. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And Dan Ganane was the commentator and said something along the lines of, I think the ref might be a bit
confused.
Couple of weeks late with that call.
I do like Dan Ganane. He's a good commentator, actually.
He is, isn't he?
Speaking of the TV shows, though, mate, I do like the Back Page. Not a bad show, is it?
Oh, Back Page is compulsive viewing. For me, I love it. And their top 5 every week is outstanding. Now we'll talk about another.
If only we had a show in New Zealand.
We'll talk about another program coming up shortly. But first, I want to talk a bit about the All Blacks. Razors not got off to the greatest start, but in saying that, it's a tough year to come after a World Cup year, isn't it? When you lose the likes of the players that the All Blacks have lost. I notice all the keyboard warriors are Bozzy and and all that sort of rubbish.
Mate, they've just lost 2 tests by stuff all to the world champions in South Africa. Yeah. Okay? Let's not get too upset about it. Yeah, the second half was pretty poor last week. It was pretty poor. But look, no one's going to remember these games when we win the World Cup. No one. Exactly. No one will remember them. So if this is a progress, I can see progress with our team. I can see patterns of play. I can see what he's trying to do. Yes, it's a bit clunky at times, but we'll get there. It's not good losing to South Africa. I bloody hate it. I think we all do. If you're an All Blacks fan, you hate it. You hate it. You hate it more than anything. But it's in South. It's not, they're the best team at the moment. They are. And we're close behind.
Oh, I think so too. I don't think we're far away at all. And some of these young players are coming through outstanding. I mean, absolutely. Cortez Ratama behind the scrum has been fantastic.
He is.
TJ Perenara has been okay in patches.
I think he'll be gone. Cam Roygaard reached 36.3 kilometres in training yesterday, mate. Yeah. So he's on the way back, and he's the number 1 pick at halfback for me.
100%. Yep. He will be the All Black halfback. He'll match Aaron Smith, I think, and
absolutely
playing over 100 tests.
Yep.
Now, also, what we've found out in the last week or so is that we're going to have tours to South Africa, and South Africa touring here in future years. How good would that be? I grew up watching the All Blacks in South Africa in 1976. Yep. You were only a 6-year-old.
Maybe not that. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Of course, I remember 81.
But of course, in 76, the tests in South Africa were with South African referees.
Exactly.
We lost the series 3-1, but we should have won the 4th test when we were when the referee ignored pleas. It should have been a penalty try when the late great Bruce Robertson was hacked down
That's right.
The try line open and
yeah. And PG Williams was the star of that tour, wasn't he? Or was that the earlier one? Yeah, anyway.
He was the star in 1970.
70, that's right. Yeah. I mean, us against South Africa. I mean, it's just the best of the best, isn't it? It's just the best rivalry in rugby by miles.
I'll never forget that 1976 tour. I think it was either the first or the second test, and a fight broke out on one side of the field, and Grant Batty ran 60 meters from his wing.
It's right.
Over.
Bless him.
Jumped up to punch Mona van Heem.
Well, he had to jump.
Taller. He was about 6 feet taller than Bats. Punched him once, turned around and took off back to his wing.
Catch me if you can. But the tours, mate, the return of tours. They must have been going back in the archive and listening to some of the Hot Air Sports podcasts, because we've been cracking on about this for bloody years, haven't we, mate? And we've just saying, how hard can it be to organise these things? And let's Lions tours as well. They should, they're happening every 4 years. I still like the 4-year period for the Lions because the less is more sort of thing with them. It's great every 12 years, isn't it? It's amazing. But why can't we've been saying this every second year, we can have the championship every second year and have a tour, and it doesn't have to be from South Africa. We could have a tour from England or a tour from Ireland and have them touring around here. This is something that we've been harking on for years. So for me, it's great.
Just recently on YouTube, I was watching the good, the bad, and the rugby, and that was through the 1980. 1989 tour.
That's right. It was the 89 tour. Yeah. Ridgie's first and only All Black tour.
Yeah. And
before he went to league.
Yeah, just watching the whole, the local towns and all that gets so
absolutely
excited when the visiting side passes through, even though, they're only stopping for lunch or something. And that sort of thing. It's just great for the game.
They celebrated the 50th anniversary or the 40th anniversary. Maybe it was anyway. It was an anniversary of the Otago team beating the Springboks a little while ago down in Carisbrook when they got the Springbok head, and that's what they get. The touring teams get the Springbok head from the Springbok team, and I mean that's just that little bit of history, and that. I mean those guys are still celebrating that 30 years later. I mean that's and that's the great thing that tours give you, right? I mean I still remember having a pee in the toilets at Rugby Park in Hamilton, and David Campese came up beside me. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. Well, it was after the game, of course.
Of course.
No, honestly, these are the things. These are those small rural towns when they go around to those things. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. Memories that are held forever and ever and ever.
Oh, absolutely.
But speaking of tours, can we talk a little bit about are we finished the rugby yet?
Oh no! Before we leave rugby, I just wanted to point out that I bet Scott Robertson is so glad he's coaching New Zealand, the All Blacks, and not the Wallabies.
Why?
Well, 67 points conceded against Argentina.
Yeah, it's rough, isn't it? It's rough.
And really they were leading by 17 points.
I know.
After 20 minutes.
Did you watch that game? Did you watch?
I watched the highlights. I didn't watch the whole game.
I just saw the score and went, "Ooh,
yeah,
it looks bad. It looks terrible." Ooh. Yeah, no, Scotty Robertson, he made the right decision there, didn't he, mate? For sure.
Quite right. Anyway, that's enough rugby for now. What's next?
Okay. Well, I was just talking about tours. Just quickly, we'll just talk a little bit about the cricket. This Test match that's been going on in India.
Has it been going on?
Not going on for 4 days. Absolute disgrace. This is what we've been saying about Test cricket for ages. The big three don't give a shit about any of the other teams. They just put them in a pile and say, there you go. We talked about this, about the 100th Test, about how England are going to play. And I got on a message board and said it's going to be the death of Test cricket. Do the other three nations actually care, though? Do they really care? Don't think they do. And
the BCCI wouldn't have scheduled the test for this particular area, which is it's in the wet season between New Zealand and Afghanistan. If they actually cared, they would have put it somewhere where they knew it was going to be dry.
That's right. And apparently they had other areas they could have taken it to, but there was club cricket going on there.
Yeah.
So, that takes a preference over Test cricket now. So anyway, just Test cricket, I mean, it just shows how much we're not respected anymore, even though we were the world champions. I mean, not that long ago. Obviously shows the smaller nations aren't really cared about by the BCCI and any of them. It's just shit.
Now,
really.
I don't know about you, but I got a wee bit excited at the beginning of the week.
Oh, did you?
With the beginning of the NFL. The American football season is back and booming, and the mighty 49ers smashed the Jets.
Oh, didn't they? Didn't they smash the Jets?
Absolutely smashed them. But this is how bloody finicky sports can be. I had a wee flutter on the 49ers to win by 14 points plus.
Oh, that's always the problem with those point spreads, mate.
It
Guess
is.
what I put some money on? The Baltimore Ravens to beat the bloody Chiefs, and I thought I had it in that last minute. I thought, there it is. It's a touchdown. They're going to go for the 2. He even held up the 2. Yes, get the 2 because I didn't want the draw or the tie at the end of the. I thought we've got this, and then it was close. So
we talk about the VAR in football with offsides by a toenail. That was not a touchdown by a toenail.
Oh, it was so close, so close. And the Baltimore Ravens, they look good. They look good. They're one of my favorite sides to watch. And Taylor Swift, of course, was at the game.
She certainly was.
It was a big thing.
And you talk about the Baltimore Ravens, their coach, John Harbaugh.
Yeah.
His brother Jim, who took the 49ers to a Super Bowl back in about 10 years ago or so.
Yeah, it was.
And spent some time coaching the Michigan Wolverines in college football, is now back in the NFL coaching the Los Angeles Chargers, and they got off to a good start, beating the Las Vegas Raiders 22-10. So that was a good start for Jim Harbaugh back in the NFL. I really enjoyed Jim Harbaugh's coaching.
Absolutely. Power plays.
When Colin Kaepernick came up.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he's a great coach.
That was the Super Bowl that was played in New Orleans, and the lights went out for 20 minutes.
That's right.
And it completely changed the game against the Ravens.
They turned the lights off.
Complete control of the game. The lights went out in the third quarter, and after
our guys went to sleep.
Ravens.
Yeah, that was crazy, wasn't it? But the first round of the NFL, I mean, great games, all of them. I mean, I didn't really see too many poor games at all. Most teams were competitive. I thought Pittsburgh was quite interesting with the dual quarterbacks. I just think Russell Wilson's I don't think he's got it anymore. I just don't think he's got the legs anymore. I've seen him try and run away from players he used to be able to run away from, and he just can't anymore. But the other young guy they've got in there that they've got from Chicago is not bad. So I think this is the beginning of the season. It's the possibilities are endless for all the teams, even the Cleveland Browns.
I'm going to pick out a couple of games of the week for me.
Go on.
The Eagles 34, Packers 29. Man, that was a great back and forward game.
And that was in Brazil, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in São Paulo. First game in South America, first game ever in the Southern Hemisphere of NFL. And the other one was the Rams-Lions. I've enjoyed these games over the last few years because 4 or 5 years ago, they basically swapped quarterbacks. Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. Basically, they got traded for each other. And so Goff's now with the Lions, they got up over Stafford's Rams. And, it was a close game. It was a really good game to watch. And, of course, the 49ers took a quarter or so to get going, but, boy, once they did going.
And we didn't even have McCaffrey, mate. We didn't even have McCaffrey, and we still didn't even miss him. The other guy they bought him for, I can't remember what his name is now.
Jordan.
And his anyway. He did bloody well. I mean, McCaffrey looks like he'll be back this week, though.
Yes, yeah.
Looking
further at American sport, the baseball playoffs.
Go on.
Crikey, since we had Jeremy Elwood on the show, which only seems like about a month ago.
It doesn't seem that long ago.
We've had 150 games of baseball for each team.
I know, that's a nuts, eh? That's crazy.
So, yes, we're getting near the playoffs. Crikey, there's pretty clear cut, actually, certainly in the American League. The National League, not quite so clear cut, but almost.
Hmm.
In the American League, you've got the Cleveland Guardians, the Yankees, and the cheating Houston Astros are leading their respective divisions.
Yeah.
Baltimore, who are only a game and a half behind the Yankees in the East,
They are.
they're leading the wild card race. Kansas City, they have been amazing this year.
You took them last night, though, didn't you? Well, I watched the replay of that last night. The Yankees beat them. That
Took
was
us
a close
11
game.
innings.
Extra innings, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great finish.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Kansas City and Minnesota Twins, you'd have to say with, what, 16 games to go, that they've pretty much, that's going to be the three wild card teams. Well, those 6 teams are going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Detroit's the next best, but they're 3.5 games back. Boston, they've got a big 4-game series coming up against the Yankees over the next 4 days. They've been playing pretty well. And
Yeah,
Seattle,
they have.
they're both Boston and Seattle 4 games back.
Yeah.
They've got
For a wild card.
they've got a tough road ahead.
Bit of work to do.
In the National League, Philadelphia Phillies have got the best record in baseball. They've only lost 58 games so far. Dodgers are only 1 game behind them, but they lead the West. And Milwaukee, another surprise leader in the Central. They predicted to not do so well, Milwaukee, after they lost their manager, Craig Counsell, to the Chicago Cubs. Now, in the wild card, the Diamondbacks are a game or half a game ahead of San Diego, followed by the Mets, who have been incredible since since the All-Star break. Although, in saying that, the Arizona Diamondbacks have actually got the best record in baseball since the All-Star break.
Yeah.
And could be a sly bet to win the World Series. They got there last year against all odds.
They did. And you that they won't. I remember when we did the thing with Jeremy, you were like, there's no way they're doing that again this year.
Yeah.
And now you're saying they're a sly bet from the whole thing again. So it's like, it's why we love baseball.
If they can get there, they've had the experience now of losing the World Series.
Yeah.
And that so often turns in your favor the following year or 2 years later. So that now that I've said they could be a sly bet, they'll probably get there.
They'll screw it up.
Only one realistically with a chance to get into those wild card berths is the Atlanta Braves. They're a game behind the Mets. But they've got such a good team. I can't work out why they are struggling so much. Can't not talk about the amazing performance this year of the Chicago White Sox in Major League Baseball.
Yep.
They've played 147 games.
Yeah.
And they've won a massive 33 of them.
You are the biggest loser. Goodbye.
They had.
So they got a chance to get in the playoffs, Macca?
No. They were eliminated from the playoffs about 6 weeks ago.
What's the worst ever? Would they be close to it?
They're getting close to it.
They're getting close to it.
I don't know what the worst is, but it's probably losing around.
Have that information for our next podcast.
I will.
Thank you.
But yeah, they had a makeup game a couple of weeks ago. Again, I can't remember who it was against. But the official crowd was something like 13,000. But somebody actually did count, and there was only 53 people in the ground.
53 people? Oh my God. That's crazy.
That's like,
so when they counted, they actually counted.
Yeah. There was so few people at the ground.
Mate, we get more at the bingo.
100%. So yeah, there you go.
Got a couple of minutes, mate.
I picked Arizona Diamondbacks for the World Series.
Nice.
That's my heart saying that. My head is saying, I still don't think you can count out the Baltimore Orioles.
Your heart is saying Yankees all the way, isn't it, mate?
Well, and the Yankees, yeah. But
yeah, of course.
The Yankees, they're 84 and 62 at the moment, leading the American League East. But they, after 60 games, they were 42 and 18.
Yeah. You
which
just don't want to
basically
back him.
means,
You
which
just don't want to
basically
back him.
means since then they're 40-40.
Yeah, true. 50-50. Well, that's still okay. They'll still get in the play. They're getting the playoffs. Who knows, mate?
Now, quickly, a couple
Yep.
of shows that have resurfaced
Yep.
many years later. The old
Yep.
Sports Cafe is doing podcasts.
Sports Cafe-ish. Yep.
And Sports Cafe-ish.
Yep.
And the ACC is doing a remake of Game of Two Halves.
Yep.
Now,
The Accident Compensation Corporation are doing a Game of Two Halves.
I watched a bit of the first couple of Sports Cafe-ish and stopped there.
Yep.
I haven't seen any of Game of Two Halves yet. You watched about 5 minutes of it.
I did. I tried. I got to the introductions, and then they introduced everyone, and it was just trying so hard. It was just trying so hard, and that was the one thing that the Game of Two Halves never did. It never tried hard at all. It was actually the complete opposite of trying hard. It was like, we don't have to try at all. This is just TV by the seat of our pants, and that's what that lacks. And Sports Cafe used to do that really well, and now it's just, well, it's just old. It's just old, like us. And a lot of people don't need to. Yeah, leave it in the past,
90s,
mate.
early 2000s.
Leave it in the past. Come up with new content. It's like all these superhero movies. Sick of them. Come up with a new story. Come up with something else. And then I woke up, it was all a dream. And sometimes I do. But these New Zealand TV shows, honestly, just
on that note, it's enough from us. Time to go. We'll be back in another whenever with another Hot Air Sports podcast. It's a good afternoon from me.
And it's a good morning from him.